Welcome.
Welcome.
Housewives of True Crime.
Yeah, in action.
Big week over here.
Big week.
It's CrimeCon 2023. So we're headed to Orlando, Florida.
Word. I
Word.
cannot, my head is like spinning. I actually cannot even believe that I'm going to be this time next week in the Florida.
You're going to be at the Disney World this on Monday next week.
Yes, true.
Yeah, first time ever, right?
Unless my kids' teachers are listening, then I'm going to be nursing those children back to health.
Right.
They all have fevers and diarrhea.
Don't. Oh God. I always like worry if that's going to actually cause them to have fevers and diarrhea.
I did just give myself a little agita. So I don't know. I'm knocking on wood and my life is plastic. Somebody knock on some wood for me.
Okay.
Okay.
There we go. And you guys, I saw Gretchen for a quick blip. It felt like I flew out to Los Angeles for something that we are cooking up, like literally cooking up.
True.
And we'll tell you about it next week because we're going to debut it at CrimeCon. I don't want those people to, I want them to be the first. They're going to actually like make their way to Florida to see us. And then our Patreon listeners are getting all the goods. And so if you want to know, head on to patreon.com/housewives of true crime or on our bonus content on Spotify or Apple. And you will be the first to know what Gretchen and I are up to. Anyways, it was nice to see you in the flesh.
You did. You got to meet Auntie Maria, who has been out here visiting me for the week
from Oklahoma. And guess what? Her and I are going to meet up again because we're both going to the Zac Brown band in Oklahoma.
Yeah, so funny.
It's amazing. Yeah, random.
Yeah.
But cool. So, by the way, when I was gone, which I was gone for 2 days, my kid didn't get picked up for school.
Right.
My other kid that my husband was supposed to take to school early didn't happen. And we missed tutoring. So,
yeah, it's hard.
Needless to say, my kids definitely need me to be there for like everything to kind of work smoothly.
Yeah, I'm real nervous about the 2 days that my husband is going to be handling the, I will leave a lot of detailed instructions.
Yeah, it doesn't work. Even if you write it all down.
Yeah, even if you write it all down. I know. Yeah. It's too bad Maria's not staying another week because
no, that would have been awesome.
She's very helpful.
Yeah.
She is helpful with everything except for she was looking forward to meeting Tab, and I took her to a Bevmo for the first time. Naturally, the best liquor store ever.
Yes.
And we saw those whipped cream shots.
Oh my gosh.
And I said, Tab loves those. And so she bought them.
They're like, it's whipped cream infused vodka. So if you're a drinker or you like to put a little vodka in your coffee, it's something.
Yeah, it might be good in the coffee, but I don't know what happened. We got out the good tequila. We were doing that. Something the next day, woke up, felt like butt.
Well, it's very sugary.
Yeah. I was like, cream. it was that damn whipped cream. So then last night we had plans. I got a babysitter. It was like going to be, adult night out. We've been going too hard. We were falling asleep at the table. We couldn't
it's been a whole week.
Couldn't hang. We were like, I don't like, you guys, it's 8:30. We can't, like, that's embarrassing. The babysitter is going to be like, what gives, losers?
Yeah.
The kids at least have to be sleeping.
Okay, so listen, with the babysitter situation, because I know you don't have a lot of babysitters, the kids sleeping is key. So you have to stay out at least till the sleeping time.
Well, yeah. Okay. So we did, but apparently, and I've never had that. My kids are really good about going to bed. I did start receiving some text regarding there was a situation. Someone doesn't want to sleep here. Wah, wah, wah. So we got home and the kids were in our room. So we had to sleep downstairs on the couch.
Yeah, I've had that situation too. That is does not make for like my husband happy. I'll just tell you that.
No.
Oh
no.
Yeah. Yeah. Well.
And today, here's the thing. I have enjoyed every second of this week. I love showing people around. It is so fun. We did so many fun things. We went to the Mission. We went to all the cute little restaurants that my husband never wants to go to,
Yeah.
during the day. It was fun. But it's been a lot. And today I have this big Oktoberfest party.
Oh, right.
Oh my God, this is kind of
Did
funny.
you make
So
the baked potatoes? She's making the baked potatoes for the.
I haven't done it yet. I still have to do that.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm wearing a lederhosen.
You
Of course.
are.
Yeah, of course I got one right away.
I have
But
one
then
from when I was 21, and it's a real slutty one, like.
yeah. Yeah, well, I think there's going to be a lot of sluts there because I bought a boy one because I'm funny, right?
Yeah.
These moms all are like, you missed a hangout and we decided we're all dressing up and they're sending pictures of their slut attire.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to be like the only boy.
That's okay.
Sounds about right, right?
It does.
Yeah. So we've been talking about this Oktoberfest or whatever in front of Maria. And she's like, oh, I don't know. I said I wanted to bring a dessert. And she's like, why don't you just bring pumpkin pie? And something about it is like annoying to her. And I'm like, she's like, it's just whatever. And finally we put it together. You don't know what Oktoberfest is. She's like, yeah, I think it's real stupid to throw a party about October in September. I'm like, that is not what it is.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Mm-hmm. So she learned something new.
Yeah, good for Maria.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Gretchen also took Maria to the Mission, and the lady told them to go in, and it was a full-on funeral.
Oh, this is true. Yeah. They and we walked into the like Mission Basilica and through the side door, and they told us, no, there is a service going on. It's just right at the front. We said, okay. I mean, it's a big place. So we figured it was small. It was not small. That whole place was packed. And we were those people that opened the door during the freaking funeral.
And
We
so then
sat,
Gretchen decided to sit down and partake.
we had to sit down. And I was
Oh
like,
my God.
okay, everybody look around, whatever. But then I can see Maria is like, I'm only here once in a while. So I'm going to start taking pictures. And I thought that would be inappropriate. So I grabbed her ass and took her out, opened the door again.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't want to be
Yeah.
ruder than we already were. They shouldn't have let us in. And then we
No, they
told the
shouldn't have.
girls, we said that was really awkward. Don't let people in.
Yeah, it's true. If you're not here for the funeral, maybe it come
Don't
back
come
another
in.
day.
Yeah, we're not
Come-
funeral crashers.
Yeah,
Okay.
no.
Yeah.
I love wedding crashers though. I have been
Oh, that's
one.
fine. I would be
Yeah.
happy to crash a wedding. Yeah.
All right. Well, I am talking. There is a wedding actually that I'm talking about in this case that actually is more like a funeral. So it's kind of interesting.
Oh,
Are you ready
nice.
to get into it?
I am ready to get into it.
Okay, let's go. All right, this week's episode is brought to us by a listener that wants to remain anonymous. So we are going to call her Lady A. Lady A from San Diego. Thank you.
Okay.
The story takes place all over America, from California to Oklahoma, and a little in between. So it actually works out because Aunt Maria is from Oklahoma, and this case actually ends in Oklahoma.
Okay.
Amanda and Brandon Duran were not your typical all-American type, I would say. They would be classified more like the alternative lifestyle type. These two liked motorcycles and tattoos and a very alternative lifestyle. And that is actually what drew them to each other. They remind me a little bit of my brother, which is kind of coincidental that this guy's name is Brandon also, and my brother's name is Brandon. So Brandon was born in 1980 in San Diego, California, where he thrived on what a lot of what did you call it? San Diegans? San Diegoans? What would you call it?
I think it is San Diegans, but I can't say San Diego without talking about it's another word for a whale's vagina.
The world?
No, because of the movie Anchorman. He says San Diego, a whale's vagina. And she says, no, I think it's Saint Diego. And he says, no, you've got that wrong.
I do not remember that. But I'm glad you do. And there are some whale vaginas in San Diego at the SeaWorld still.
True.
So,
yeah,
yes.
true.
Okay. So he thrived on what, let's just call them San Diegans do. And that was extreme sports. He was a real kick-ass snowboarder and one of those guys that enjoyed doing boarding activities more than probably studying. And that's my like pure speculation just on how Brandon portrayed himself. They have a lot of videos. His family was one of those families that like always had the camcorder on their shoulder, you know, which I'm kind of envious of because it was not very easy to get a lot of video back in the 80s because you actually had to like put the big, you know, cassette tape in there and then record. And basically, you didn't want to buy another cassette tape, or my family didn't. So then you'd like record over the videos that you already recorded. Remember that?
I do.
I'm totally dating myself. Okay. But anyways, back in the 80s, Brandon's parents divorced pretty early on, and Brandon's dad, Mark, moved to New Mexico. Brandon really kind of gravitated towards his dad and eventually would also go to live with his dad in New Mexico and visit his mom on holidays, long weekends, and during the summer months. When Brandon became an adult, he moved back to San Diego for a bit and then hopped over to Vegas. And tragedy kind of struck Brandon at the young age of 25 when his dad died unexpectedly getting a kind of a routine biopsy. He went in for a liver biopsy and he never made it out. So I don't know what happened, but that doesn't sound like normal.
I don't know. Feels like cutting into the liver. That does sound scary.
It does, but some people have like little things on their livers that they need to get just like, I think probably biopsied. I don't know. This death of his dad absolutely devastated Brandon. His dad was basically his world. His dad also was the man who got Brandon into this alternative lifestyle. Brandon's love for motorcycles and tattoos came from his dad. And I'm sure he got his first motorcycle because of him. Brandon's dad was a member of a biker gang that I actually had not heard of before called the Banditos. Are you familiar?
Okay, listen.
What?
Not specifically, but there are a lot of the motorcycle gangs in, or I don't know if they prefer the gang title, groups, clubs.
It's a motorcycle club.
Yeah, club, I think is the appropriate word. In San Diego, there actually used to be a reality TV show about all of them. There's a lot of them.
Okay, so you are not familiar with Banditos either, though, this particular group?
No.
Okay, well, it is the second largest organization right under the Hells Angels.
There's like Hells Angels, Mongrels, that 1% people.
No, that's Banditos, 1%ers.
Oh, yeah. Don't fuck with those guys. That's what I know. Yeah.
Dude, 150% don't fuck with those guys. They have a pretty large organization, about 2,000 to 2,500 members. So almost as much as like Scientology, dude.
Oh, geez.
Right? Isn't Scientology members like 5,000?
I don't know.
I thought you said that to me before, but
I might have.
anyways, I know that like actually this motorcycle gang isn't like affiliated too much with this case, but I did find it kind of fascinating. They were founded in San Leon, Texas. Okay. And it's not really easy to get in. So Brandon's dad had to, you have to like first hang out, got to be a hang around person.
Yeah.
And then you have to be a prospect after that. And then you go on to have probation. And then once the chapter president accepts you, you have to be voted in unanimously. And then once you are in the club, you have to sign your Harley Davidson, which you must own a Harley to be in, and you have to sign it over to the club.
Oh, okay.
And each chapter has a hierarchy of members, and you have to follow all their bylaws. You have to get their gear. You know, they have the
jackets and the patches. And
the patches, all of that. And then I thought to myself, it kind of seems like the same thing as joining a country club.
Well, it's very time consuming, you know? I mean,
also,
I think
you have
they
to
have
go,
to like
what
what
if to go to their meetings?
Listen, I know I watched the Sons of Anarchy and this reality show I can't remember the name of. So, I mean, I'm pretty familiar. I mean, it is a lot of time.
It is a lot of time.
You have little kids, you're not hanging out with them.
You're not hanging out with your kids. or
your
kids
woman.
are just like,
and I think sometimes they fulfill those needs at the clubhouse with other ladies.
Oh, allegedly,
Shady
we might have known
there.
some of those back in like our high school days, or maybe right out of high school.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe a little
with a
bit.
different organization.
A little bit.
They are considered outlaws, and they seem to like it that way because one of their rules prohibits them to cooperate with the law. And they are all considered brothers. They're like a one for all for one kind of approach. And then I thought this was interesting. You cannot die by suicide in the Banditos. And if you do, you will not get a Bandito funeral, which I assume is probably the last thing on each one's bucket list.
Right.
So after Brandon's dad passed away, the Banditos really took Brandon under their wing, and it kind of brought Brandon a lot of comfort. What I can imagine is, I mean, these guys were like his dad's brothers, and hanging around them was the closest thing that he could get to his dad. This is also when Brandon decided to move to Vegas, Viva Las Vegas. And from here, Brandon was like riding a lot of motorcycles, hanging around that crowd. And this is where he would meet his future Mrs. Amber Andrews. Amber was just 1 year younger than Brandon and was really like a dream come true. She was beautiful. She was a tattoo artist from Oklahoma. I mean, she seemed to have it all, or everything that Brandon was looking for. Our friend Lady A was actually acquaintances and somewhat friends with Amber during this time. They were friends on MySpace, and they were both part of this thing called Suicide Girls. Are you familiar with that?
No.
Okay, so I wasn't either, but I found this also very interesting. So it's a company. It's now basically like OnlyFans for alternative chicks. Like the more tattoos, the better.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Back then it was kind of like a Playboy. They had some publications that went out. They had some appearances, and some of their models actually had contracts with the organization. Lady A said that Amber was fully all in. She had the contract. Lady A didn't make it to that point yet. She got pregnant and had to step away from that. I asked her also if it was, and back then, like in 2005, and actually when it started, it was more for like the pinup style girl.
Yeah.
Now, when I looked at it a lot, now it looks more like tattooed girls, like dark haired tattooed girls. I asked if it was lucrative because I can imagine it could be. And I think back then she was like she doesn't know how lucrative it was for the girls that actually had contracts, but she thought that, I mean, I bet you it wasn't. But now
it was probably kind of a status thing. Yeah, and I'll bet now it is more so.
Yeah, for sure.
Listen, there is a niche for everybody. You know what I can't get over is I think Kat Von D is so beautiful. And, she's got the tattoos on her face. It's working for her. But, she blacked out her legs.
With tattoo?
They're all black.
Wow.
Yeah. Don't you think, I mean, no shade for the tattoos, but that much ink? That scares me. Like that is
a lot of
that's
going
gotta
in
be
your
poisoning.
bloodstream.
Yeah, that's too much.
It's too much. It's definitely too much. I have to get a MRI with contrast, and they say that it doesn't ever leave your body. Like there's still some that stays, and that's a little bit concerning to me, So I can imagine the ink that's like tattooing your body is like, there's got to be some residual effects to that. So anyways, it looks like to me, it's more of an OnlyFans now. You can become a member. You can look at some pictures that are less, risque without becoming a member. But if you become a member, then you get the good stuff, I guess. The only thing about these sites that really gets me is I think that it's a good place for like human trafficking, and that really scares me.
Oh, totally.
I saw one of the girls that was featured yesterday, and she looked about 14, and my stomach like was real upset about it. She was probably 18, but she didn't look that way,
No, I mean, listen, consensual adults can do whatever the hell they want, but I do not like the idea that it is like young girls are like, oh, here's this way to make money quick. And while, I mean, it's kind of like, I don't know, like maybe it's like marijuana, like that's not a big deal. But if it leads to other things, that is a big deal.
Right.
It's kind of a gateway to naughty town, the bad part. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So, I mean, we're not judging, if you want to make a
No,
buck,
no, no,
if you want to
no.
make a buck on your booty and it brings
Yeah,
you lots of booty, good
and it
on you.
might work. Yeah, it's just maybe a
Yeah,
slippery slope for some vulnerable
that's right.
girls.
That's right.
Yeah, that's all I'm
Okay.
saying.
So back to Amber and Brandon. Amber and Brandon were two peas in a pod. Brandon's family accepted her. They were fast lovers, just getting married months after meeting. And in everything I watched and everything I read, this date of their marriage was very significant. They got married on June 6, 2006, which would be 666, which is,
Ew,
yes,
the devil.
the
Now say
devil.
something
Right.
else, a Hail Mary or something. I don't even
Yes.
like saying those numbers in a row.
I know. I was writing this. By
Ugh.
the way, I was writing this on the plane and I did not want to write that down on the paper. I was like,
Yeah,
on my
no.
computer, I was like, I cannot write that. Like, this is bad, bad,
Mhm.
bad, bad.
Mhm.
Okay. So listen, they got married in Vegas on that day. She wore a black wedding dress. That's why I'm telling you, it's more like a funeral, not like a wedding.
Okay.
Black veil, big red lips. And I'm not trying to be judgy also here, but I think it was a bad omen. I think it was an
Okay.
omen to what's to come. Okay.
Sarah Jessica Parker wore a black wedding dress. Did you know that?
When she married,
Matthew Broderick.
is
She
she still
regrets it.
married?
Yeah, she's still married.
And she regrets wearing a black wedding dress.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yes, so would anybody. I mean, except for maybe, I don't know. I don't know. I'd rather wear a pink wedding dress like Gwen Stefani, but that also didn't work out for her, right? So at first, it was rainbows and butterflies, but it didn't last because I wouldn't be telling you the story if it was. Amber popped out another Brandon, a son that they would call Brando, pretty soon after they got married.
Yeah.
Um, and which was funny because that's also what I call my brother. Call him
Mhm.
Brando. Brando was Brandon's world. He was like so stoked on being a dad. He loved having a family. He loved being married to Amber. And Amber seemed like not as into having a family and a husband as Brandon was. Amber still wanted to party. The family life just wasn't her thing. So, after 4 years of marriage and some speculation that she wasn't faithful to Brandon, Amber and Brandon got divorced. Amber hightailed it back to Oklahoma, and Brandon got full custody of their now 4-year-old Brando.
Interesting.
Yeah, not typical,
Not
right?
typical. Mm-hmm.
Brandon didn't mind having full custody because, like I said, he loved having a family, but he wanted to be closer to his family. So he moved back to San Diego. I went back to Brandon's Facebook profile and back into like 2010. And he talks about having like this big birthday party for Brando. And this is when they got divorced, and like a jump house and a barbecue. I mean, it was kind of sweet. Like he really did do everything to support his son. Okay, according to Brandon's mom, it got a little obnoxious when Amber would come and have visitation with Brando because she would make it really difficult for Brandon to get him back. Like she would, say, meet me here and then not be there or whatever it is, right? I can see it being a little hectic. And I also see that although it's not the right thing to do, I see this in custody battles sometimes,
Yeah.
where
Yeah. Often. Yeah.
the one of the partners or ex-partners just makes it difficult on the other just to be, an asshole.
Yeah.
So, although Amber made Brandon's life pretty challenging with the custody thing, he still had these deep feelings for her. And I think Amber knew it. So, in 2012, just 2 years after they got divorced, Amber showed up to San Diego to beg Brandon to get back together with her. She convinced him to do a road trip with the three of them, Brando, her, and Brandon, to go back to Oklahoma to visit the Okies, as you would call it, as you would
Yes.
call your family. And Brandon, with his lion heart, was like, okay, yeah, sure. He really liked the idea of a nuclear family. And so he thought it would be good for his kids. So the two, with their kiddo in tow, made their way from California to Oklahoma in Brandon's truck. They also put a trailer on Brandon's truck to hold Brandon's motorcycle. I guess it wasn't working correctly, so he thought he could work on it in his spare time when he was in Oklahoma. Sounds like a very Jeremiah thing to do, by the way.
Yeah, he's always working on something.
Yeah. I was like, who would do that? But then I was like, oh, right. I think Jeremiah would do that.
By the way,
Yes.
my ice maker still not working. He just is
I'm
torturing me with
I'm
that.
not surprised.
But you know what he did yesterday without even asking me what my thoughts were on this? Since
What?
we have the electrician uncle out here,
Mhm.
he went out and bought a new TV and put it up outside by the jacuzzi.
I know. I'm stoked for you on that. That is going to be awesome.
But like, do I get an opinion? I'm still waiting for my ice maker.
No, no, you don't.
Apparently not. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the two are in Oklahoma with their son, and no one really heard from Brandon while he was in Oklahoma, but his mom didn't think much of it because, he's out there. They talk daily, usually, but probably because she helped with his son. But now that he's with Amber's family, she wasn't worried. That was until she got a dreaded call that her son was probably the man that they just found in 25 pieces at the bottom of a pond. So let me tell you how that
Oh,
happened.
yeah.
On August 8th, a man by the name of Van Emblem would walk into a police station in Elmore City, Oklahoma, and tell them that he had just helped his friend dispose of a body. He claimed that his friend had called him for help with something, and when he showed up, his friend by the name of Justin Hammer had sealed paint buckets filled with concrete and oozing blood from them. Justin said he killed Brandon, his girlfriend's ex-husband, and he needed help loading him into his truck to dump him in the pond behind his property. He actually, Van, knew who Brandon was because Justin was his best friend and Justin was dating Amber. Amber would often talk about her ex-husband, Brandon, and how awful he was and make up stories about how he abused her just to get Justin all riled up. Police immediately descend onto the property of Justin to uncover the truth. Justin basically comes clean right away. He says Brandon rode up on his motorcycle like a bat out of hell to confront him about his relationship with Amber and threatened to get the banditos to kill his entire family. At this point, he grabbed his shotgun and killed Brandon in self-defense. So investigators head to the pond to see if they can find what Van said were buckets filled with Brandon's remains. And sure enough, they do. They find, I think, 4 buckets and a dog crate that contained Brandon's torso. They immediately arrest Justin Hammer and, they're like, okay, if you killed somebody in self-defense, like you don't cut them up and dismember them. And his excuse for dismembering Brandon was that he freaked out after he killed Brandon and didn't want retaliation from the banditos, so he decided to throw him into the pond. When asked if he had any help with this killing, he adamantly said no one helped him except for his best friend, but his best friend hightailed it to the police, which is what you should do, by the way.
That is okay. Yes. In this situation, because clearly it was such a messy end, you do need to go to the police. In the future, if you ask me to help you dispose of a body, we're going to have had a pre-game discussion, right?
I mean, also, like you disposed of it in the pond behind your house. That is
Not smart. Not all that. Not smart. Nope. You might as well go to the police because your ass is grass. Yeah.
probably not the right place. Yes, there is definitely, I would say that the thought out process of this killing was
Not.
not a good one. They have not
Mm-mm.
listened to enough true crime.
Totally.
Okay, so police go to Amber. She's living with her mom at the time, and to break the news to her that her ex-husband was murdered by, or at this point, maybe it was self-defense, but by her now boyfriend. And she is really distraught. She is like crying. She's hysterical. She says they're like, where were you? She says she was at a doctor's appointment and then she was tattooing her girlfriend. She did claim that on the way to the doctor's appointment, Brandon and her got in a fight. And about Justin, she said that she was having a hard time breaking it off with Justin. And Brandon was like, I'm going to go take care of him, So he got on his motorcycle, and that's the last time she saw him. The police take Brandon's remains for an autopsy. They also contact Brandon's mom. This is when they called her in San Diego to give her the dreaded news. As you can imagine, she is beyond devastated, as well as his younger brother. Brandon's mom just immediately starts talking about how awful Amber had been to Brandon in the recent years. The one-time love of his life that everyone liked at one time showed her true colors shortly after marrying Brandon and having Brando. According to Brandon's mom and Brandon's friends, Amber would pick fights just so she could go out drinking all night. And Brandon's mom said she was most likely cheater, pumpkin eater.
Mm-hmm.
His friends also said in a snapped episode that she was the one that would hit Brandon and be real abusive when she would get wasted.
Right.
The police found this intel pretty interesting, as well as a few other details in their investigation. At Justin's house, they retrieved 2 guns, a .22 and a shotgun. Both had been recently fired. They also recovered a list, like a grocery list, but more of like a how to dismember and dump a body list, like tarp, saw, tape, cement buckets.
Mm-hmm.
And the writing looked to be on the more feminine side.
Ooh.
They also were able to recover footage from the Ace Hardware store from the night before the murder of Justin buying all these supplies, in which he said he just was doing a home improvement project.
Uh-huh.
The timing, Justin, the timing.
Mm-hmm. And did he pay with a credit card? I mean, and
he's
save the receipt.
They knew
Justin.
they knew it was an Ace Hardware, so I'm assuming he probably paid with his credit card.
Yeah. Not smart.
Brandon's autopsy also came back that he actually was shot 4 times, 3 times with the .22 in the back of his head and like the back side of his head, and then 1 time execution style to his face with the shotgun. So this was more and more looking like a planned execution and not like a self-defense scenario.
Yeah.
Also, it looked like maybe 2 people were in on it, and Justin wasn't acting alone. I mean, do you think Justin like killed him with the .22 and then grabbed his shotgun after that? Like, that doesn't sound.
Don't make no sense.
It doesn't. And he only told the police that he shot him with a shotgun. So it doesn't make any sense. Although Justin has always claimed that he is the sole killer, I am thinking not. And the police are thinking it looks like Amber plotted to kill her ex in hope to get full custody of her son and ridding her life of Brandon. So prosecutors knew that all this evidence against Justin was really strong. And so they were like, we can try him pretty quickly. And they did. Just under 2 years, he was found guilty of murdering in the 1st degree and sentenced to life in prison without parole. He was 32 years old, and he was found guilty in 2014. Now, Amber, she had a different story. They waited on her. And so I think from a few things I read, I think she had Brando for a couple years before she was arrested and tried. It's not really clear. And I know Brandon's family was fighting for this child, but I think if the mom wasn't arrested, I am pretty sure she probably had him. But eventually, they would gather enough evidence to take Amber to trial as well. Based on her phone evidence and some friends' testimony, Amber turned out to be liar, liar, pants on fire. You see, her testimony was that she went to the doctors and then went to tattoo her friend, right?
Right.
Well, her friend that she was tattooing actually said she was at the house before the doctor's appointment, and so was Brandon. She said Amber got a text, and then out the door the 2 went while she watched little Brando. Amber actually had taken her friend's phone and not her own on the way out. She said by accident, but who knows? This friend kept calling her phone with Amber's phone, but Amber had turned off the phone. Upon further investigation into Amber's phone, it looked like she got a text from Justin right around the time she left for the doctor's appointment. And the text read, the ink is ready. They believe that that was Amber's cue to bring Brandon to Justin's house and set him up for murder and dispose of him. According to Brandon's family, his motorcycle wasn't even in working order, so there was no way that he could have ridden the bike solely to Justin's house. However, Justin did have possession of Brandon's motorcycle, so that's weird. And Justin said he gave it away to his friend or his family.
Okay.
The investigators did check and see if Amber made it to the doctors, and she did not. So that was.
But that is that's a real dumb thing to lie about.
I know.
Because they're gonna. They can check.
You could be anywhere where they didn't check.
Yeah.
Doctors, no show.
They write down who has appointments.
Yes.
They keep a record.
And who didn't show up. Right.
Yeah.
Also, the handwriting experts examined that supply list and confirmed it was Amber's writing. It seemed like Amber's plan to trick Brandon into getting back together with her was just to bring him to Oklahoma and have her new boo take care of him for good. She also was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison without parole, with additional sentences for conspiracy and dismembering a corpse. But she did not get convicted until 2017, 5 years after Brandon's murder. So she is currently serving time in Oklahoma. And I was like, it's kind of funny because really for her, orange is the new black. And as far as Brando, he is being raised by Brandon's family. But he's got to be like a senior in high school by now.
Yeah.
And I pray for him because I think really he got the short end of the stick, which is always what happens with these children. It's like,
yeah, of course.
Don't be killing the father or mother of a child, because then the child just has nobody. Bad idea.
Yeah, that is a bad idea. You know what? I think another takeaway from cases like this is if you have sons, you need to explain to them that there are manipulative, lying women out there that will try to get you to kill someone. And you need to tell your sons that before they get in a relationship with one, because once they are already, hypnotized, they don't see it. You got to tell them.
Okay, so that's funny you say this, because
aliens are out there. Yeah.
Multiple people have said that she has this spell on men. And so, she got this Justin Hammer to do this for her. And she got Brandon to actually come back into her web. She's like a true Black Widow spider. And I don't know what it is. I mean, she must be real good in bed or something, because she's got the spell on these men, and multiple people said that she just had this way of getting men to do what she wanted.
Yeah.
But now she doesn't. Or maybe she did. You know what? I actually looked up because I was like, that prison pen pal. I bet you she's
making a killing. She's one of those.
She is. Yeah, I bet you
she's making a killing. Yeah, I can't get men to do anything for me. I can't get my ice machine hooked up. He did make me coffee this morning, though. That was nice.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I was so busy this morning. I had all these kids over, but I had to get ready for this recording, and I'm having this little family birthday party for my son tomorrow. And so I had the kids make I was like, here, eggs and bacon, figure out how to make it all. They did.
Oh, good.
Yeah. I was like, okay, we're growing up.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you all follow us on Instagram and on Housewives of True Crime group. That's our private Facebook group. That's where we do most of our business. So you guys can in that group on Facebook, if you're a Facebook person, you can talk as much as you want, and nobody outside of our group sees it, which is nice on Facebook, right? So
right.
Because sometimes, when you're in those groups that are open to everybody, then your friend is like, oh, you're selling your old sneakers on Facebook Marketplace, and you're like, oh,
do you think that is kind of funny? I do. Sometimes stuff comes up like that on my feed, And I'll be like, damn, you put that like, it'll be like a mirror or something for like $20. And I just want to be like, girl, really? You want
Dude.
people to come over to your house to get your shit? You live in a nice house.
Okay, that's funny you say that because I've been like really Facebook marketplacing lately. And I listed and the reason I did because I told my kids that we could like whatever money that they made from like listing all of our stuff, they could like split it. So they wanted to sell some like glow sticks that they had, extra glow sticks. So I put this whole pack together and I sold it for like, I don't know, $5. Okay. It's been so much of a hassle. And I'm like, I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not like $5, $10, like it has to be $100 item or more.
Yeah, I would say
Yes. Because I can't deal with people asking me
maybe
and then,
50. I've driven
okay,
to people's
50.
houses for 50. Yeah.
But I mean, I've been selling stuff all over the range, the price range, but the $5 party pack that I put on, I'm done with that one. Not doing
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So, anywho,
All your friends are seeing that, just so you know, and they think you're like Kim and Croy Behrman, like you're having a going out of business in life sale. You're selling $5 glow sticks like she's selling her purses
well,
because they can't pay their mortgage.
I am actually a little bit smarter. I put it private on the Facebook Marketplace so
Yeah.
nobody can see. But I'm just saying
Yeah.
on our Facebook page, Housewives of True Crime group, make sure it has the group at the end. It's like it's a private group. We fully are involved in it. So you can talk to us. We are the people that are answering. Wow, Gretchy. She's yawning. Tired over there? Have a long night?
A little bit.
Didn't get enough coffee. Jeremiah made it real light this morning. And then please, 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 we've seen some really good reviews, you guys, lately. Thank you so much. I mean, honestly, it's so nice to read some of yours. Like, we get you through the day, we get you through your job, and it's so nice to see. So if you have something nice to write to us on a review, that would be awesome. We love reading them, and it does help us on Apple and on Spotify to get up in the ranks. If you are coming to CrimeCon, we will be there. And I think that's all for today. So
That is all for today.
clink, clink.
Clinkety clink.